There were some big winners on the field and off the field this spring. Let's talk about it.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie 5.
Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie 5, and we are ready to get after it. We're going to talk about spring winners. There was a couple of really big on-the-field winners, and I think there was a big win off the field that really started, I guess, all the way back in this past recruiting class, December, and so forth and so on. We'll talk about that here in just a second as well. But before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to Uncle Keith's Red Sauce. Go to UncleKeith'sRedSauce.com. Use coupon code TheBarn30 for 30% off. Just a little bit longer. Don't wait because this is it. So make sure you save big. Give it a shot. If you live in the state of Alabama and you love salsa and you live close to a Publix, you can try it there. If not, hit that online store, save big, and support an Auburn family at the same time. Give it a shot. Uncle Keith's Red Sauce. It's good, y'all. Let's talk winners. You know how I love talking winners. Anything positive, I want to talk about it. I think that you could make this argument for the quarterback room in general, Jackson Arnold and Deuce Knight. But I'm going to give the nod. I think Deuce probably, when I say win, I don't necessarily mean he's the best player on the whole team. When I say win, I'm talking about you had some goals or you had some obstacles in front of you, and you incredibly surpassed those and advanced your positioning on this football team further than maybe what was expected. And I think Deuce did that in droves. I think Deuce did that exponentially. And I think it all started back when the whole 4 quarterback thing sort of fell through. You got Ashton Daniels, who you knew wasn't going to be here till spring. And then you brought Tanner Bailey out of retirement, and for whatever reason, still don't 100% know the reason there. That did not work out. So you were going to run an entire spring practice with just 2 guys. And I'm not saying that this is the only reason. I'm not saying that Deuce with more quarterbacks would have still not had a chance to sort of explode onto the scene and have the successes that he had. But man, that being dropped in his lap, the ability to just be 1 and 2, the ability to get to take 50% of the reps, and then do what he did during spring with the second team, like be able to take charge of the offense and really limit turnovers. And when I say limit, I essentially mean 0 up until, honestly, A-Day, and I think the practice that Jackson got hurt. I think Jackson got hurt on a Friday, came out the Friday before A-Day. It was either the Thursday. I can't remember if they took off the day before A-Day or not. Regardless, the last practice before A-Day, Jackson tweaked his hammy a little bit, completely harmless. But there's no reason to put him in the game or go through another practice. Like, just rest. The only thing you can do to a hammy is hurt it further if you push it. So he came out of that practice. Deuce took all the first team reps from there on. I think he may have thrown a couple of interceptions at that point in time with the first team. And then he threw a couple in the actual A-Day game. That's to be expected. I mean, this defense is pretty good. The defense is pretty good. He had not really had a ton of reps with that offensive line, not a ton of live reps against the ones. But even then, I mean, if you want to keep talking about, I guess, the perfect situation for his accelerated development, I mean, I hated the Jackson. We didn't get to see Jackson on, 2 Saturdays ago. I hated we didn't get to see him at A-Day. But man, that's another just put the pedal to the metal developmental acceleration. So not only did Deuce get 50% of the reps and look really good the whole entire spring, he got the whole A-Day practice in front of the fans, in front of everybody as the number one quarterback. I don't think you could write a script. If you're expecting Deuce to be the guy, if you're expecting Deuce to be the next big Auburn quarterback, your 5-star quarterback, if you're expecting him to be able to carry this team in a couple of years, you could not have scripted a better first spring, I don't think. Short of him getting all the reps, I guess. And then you're worried about what happens this year. There's something about this kid that he's got a little bit of extra that you can't coach. He's got the big time arm. I mean, some of the throws he makes are incredible. We didn't even get to see the athleticism on display. That's a whole nother element, really, for both quarterbacks. But that's a whole nother element that is exciting to think about, that he could you lose contain on him and he can go 80 on you in a blink of an eye. I mean, he is elite speed. I just don't know that there could have been a better outline of how this spring would play out than the way it did for him. It's huge. And I think he probably, I don't want to even say improve their stock, doesn't make a ton of sense in this scenario, but I want to just say he probably solidified the confidence in the coaching staff. He woke up the coaching staff a little bit. Not that they were sleeping on him, but the fact that it's still a freshman quarterback. But I think the point is his performance was like, holy cow, we've got something here. We've got something here. Let's don't squander this. You got something special. I think nowadays you kind of get guys in, you'd work with them and you develop them, but like if it doesn't really catch on, I mean, you're probably already looking for their replacement. Not looking for, but planning for, through the portal or high school recruiting or whatever. This kid's going to be good. I think he won the spring. I think he won the spring as far as cementing his value on this team moving forward. Another guy that I think was a big winner is Sam Turner. We're going to talk about him in just a second. And a perspective that I want you to really, really think about, like how incredibly impressive this is that he's kind of done what he's done. We'll get to that in just a second. But before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to mybookie.ag. Use coupon code BARN, BARN, for a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. If you love to bet sports, they have a immense sports book with every single sporting event you can imagine, every line you can imagine, and every way you can bet it imaginable. So definitely give them a shout. Show them some love. Use that deposit bonus. Get you some free play. Get in there. Hit you a big parlay. Hit you a big teaser. Whatever way you like to bet. You got some free play to kick it off with. So check it out. Have some fun. mybookie.ag. Then take all those winnings and go over to rowback.com. I got my Rowback black hoodie on. It's getting close. I'm really pushing hoodie season. I'm taking it to the extreme because I just love hoodies. I don't know. I know it's I know more than likely maybe they'll be uncool in the next couple of years, but I'm gonna rock them as long as I can. I just love hoodies. So I got my black one on. Use coupon code BUTTON20 to take 20% off. If you want to get some, you got it. You can get them there. Tons of colors. Then they got all the spring and summer stuff you can imagine, from shorts, polos, swim trunks, hats, visors, everything. Floppy hats. If you're a floppy hat guy, they got a pretty sweet one in there. I'm thinking about getting for pool season, because pool season's right around the corner too. So check them out. Show them some love. I'm sorry, not my bookie. It's rowback.com. We'll be back right after this. I want you to think about this for a second. Put yourself in this perspective. You're a high school freshman, and Auburn is calling you, and they just signed the greatest wide receiver class they maybe have ever signed. 2 5-stars. You got Malcolm Simmons, who's the freak of the class, from a just freak athlete. And then they go out there, and Cam Coleman performs like he performs. Malcolm performs like he performs, and he's looking like he's going to be, a staple for the next at least 2 more years. Perry Thompson shows flashes. He's only a year or so away. And then they go get Eric Singleton Jr., the best at the time, the best player in the portal when he committed. I think he ended up being like the number 2 or number 3 player in the whole portal. Phenomenal wide receiver that's been a stud for 2 years at Georgia Tech. All those things, and you're the wide receiver in the class right after. So you go into Auburn, and you got to be thinking, how the heck am I going to be anything other than they just call my number? They just know me by my number. Like, how am I going to make them know my name here? You got all these stars in front of you. You're I would say a higher rated 3-star guy. Good offers. You're committed to Georgia Tech. Sort of drowned it out by maybe some, a deeper class in the state of Georgia. Sort of like an unsung guy. So you're coming in with not a ton of fanfare. Later add to the class anyway. All these guys in front of you, and you got to be thinking, how am I going to dig myself out of this hole? How am I going to be recognized? How are people going to even notice me? You take all that whole scenario, and there may not have been a more talked about wide receiver than Sam Turner. It's just crazy to me. It just seemed like practice after practice. I mean, you're making the Auburn official social media highlight reel. Like Auburn football's official accounts, you're making their highlight reels. Making play after play after play in practice, to the point where, again, you're one of the most talked about wide receivers in that whole room. To the point of, there's serious discussions about how you'd be in the rotation game 1. That's impressive. That impresses the crap out of me from Sam Turner, to be able to put the noise behind you and not be intimidated. Man, that's got to be an intimidating situation. And just to have the stones to just come in and say, I don't care who you are. You better bring your lunch, because I'm here to win. Super impressive from Sam Turner. I think you can't talk about winners of spring and him not be on the list. Gotta be. Excited to see what he does. That 4, 5, and 6 wide receiver in the rotation, that battle between those guys, Horatio Fields, Perry Thompson, Sam Turner, is going to be fascinating to watch. You kind of feel like your you feel like your top 3 are sort of set with Cam, Singleton, and Simmons. And then after that, it's going to be a war. It's going to be a war for playing time. And you got 3 guys I think that you can lean on at any point in time in different scenarios to be playmakers. But big spring for Sam Turner. Definitely a player to be excited about moving forward. I'm excited to see Derek Smith too whenever he gets here. He hasn't gotten here yet, so this is sort of off topic. But he was the other wide receiver in this class, him and his brother. But Derek's the one. I see some Odell Beckham in him. I can't wait to see what he does when he gets here because I think he's got some of those Malcolm Simmons freaky athletic ability aspects to him. So, but big kudos to Sam Turner. And then to me, one of the big wins of spring, and I can't stress this enough. When you're to the point from where Auburn's been in such a short period of time, built to the point where you're going into a spring portal season where honestly, if you didn't want to, other than just numbers and other than just depth, you didn't have to add anybody. You didn't have to have not a single starter. The only thing you're looking at is how to provide a little depth and fill out some of those scholarship numbers that you lost to the portal. That's a huge win. That is a massive win to be at that point right now. You didn't have to have a quarterback. You didn't have to have a big-time wide receiver. You don't have to have a pass rusher. You didn't have to have a starting defensive lineman. Had to get a couple of those last year that ended up being starting defensive linemen. You didn't have to get any offensive linemen. Nothing. You really didn't necessarily need anything. You needed to fill holes. You just had to fill holes in the depth chart, and you did that. Pretty boring. If you love, adding a whole bunch of new players, it was kind of boring. I'm just being honest. You were very targeted. You were very locked in on the particular guys that you needed in the roles that you needed them to play. You brought them in for a visit and you got them, and you're done. You may still add a corner. We'll see what happens there. I think the portal closes on Thursday. I think that's right. It was open last Tuesday, which is crazy to think because it feels like it's been open longer. April 16th to April 25th. So that would be, today's the 22nd. Yeah, Thursday will be the day that it closes. That doesn't mean that you can't add anybody after that. That just means everybody that's got to be in there has got to be in. Everybody that wants to be in there has got to be in there by then. Could you see some last-minute power plays? I think that's becoming sort of a trend where teams, where players are like, hey, the portal closes at midnight. I need a raise or I'm going in. And you wait till right there at the last minute and try to see what you can get out of the school you're currently enrolled. Could there be some players arise? Possibly, but I don't even know what position would be. Tight end, maybe. Tight end would be the only one where I would say if a bona fide stud pops in, it'd be worth entertaining. Doesn't mean I'm saying that Auburn's roster is just at elite level, but it's just at the point where you feel really, really good about your starters across the board. You're not going out searching for playmakers, difference makers in a portal period, which I think is a huge win. I think it's one of the big wins of this spring period. So I'm sure we'll talk more about that as the portal closes and as we hit drivel season, when all the portal stuff is done, and you're just sort of that, you got recruiting to lean on. So we'll have some recruiting action, but it's basically no man's land for about 3 months. So we'll get through it, and we're going to have fun doing it. We're going to have Friendship Fridays. We're going to have all kind of stuff. So definitely be prepared for that. Let me know who your big spring winners are. Am I crazy? Am I just bugging? Or are there some guys that I forgot about? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat who you think your spring winner is. I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for listening again. Don't forget to check out mybookie.ag. Use that coupon code. Get that 50% deposit bonus. And then go win big. Go to thebarnauburn.com. Subscribe. Take $25 off of your annual membership. Get in there. Get the recruiting action. We've been hot with the portal, basketball, and football. Been nailing it. It's been a lot of fun there. Definitely check in and get a part of the action. And, guys, subscribe if you like the channel and like it if you like the video. We're going to be back again soon. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay bud.
Thanks for listening and drive home safely.